Well, I'm not really sure what to talk about today. I guess talk about me having to move for the one, two, three, four, fifth time in a year and a couple of months. And you think that it would be all my fault. Maybe it is. However, I also have the fault of mean people. People that feel that they can judge, they can protect, they have greed, they have something to hide. These people, either one way or the other, basically fucked with my life. And they don't seem to have a problem with it. The first one, I was late on the rent. Oh, because I was getting a big check that didn't come in. Turns out rich people play this game. Not all rich people, but a good many. More than you think. They see if they can't negotiate with you on your last check. After all, they don't need you anymore. When you're building a house or when you're doing a renovation project. So once they don't need you anymore, they don't pay you your last check for some idiotic reason. And so you have to take them to court. Or they'll negotiate a lesser price and go ahead and pay you. Well, they also pick people they can't do without a check. No check at all. Because these people are working people. They live mostly paycheck to paycheck. They can't wait on money. Well, that's the kind of people they look for when they're doing their house. People that are good, but people that don't have a lot of money. Well, that's what they tried to do to me. And they did it to a good many other people. I kept hearing them say, this one screwed me over, that one screwed me over, that one screwed me over. I held their last check, I held their last check. But I didn't get too much involved because I just don't like gossip and I don't like problems, and I just didn't get involved. But I'll tell you one thing, when the lady said to me the first time we met, "We gonna be best friends," I knew right then and there I was gonna get screwed. And I knew right then and there that I should have backed away running. But I didn't. I went on and took the job. Well, that made me get a roommate. I used to live by myself and took care of myself just fine. But at that point, I needed a roommate. Because that was a third of my income for the year. And I'd worked 2 years on this project. So anyway, I got a roommate, but it was still hard to get ends meet because my ex-tailor decided to ruin my reputation online. Because I took his dog from him. It wasn't his dog to start with. It was mine for 8 years before it was his, and ours, rather. That's another story I'll tell you another day. But he ruined my reputation online by posting bad reviews about me. He never was a client. But yet, Yelp and Google and everybody let him post views and wouldn't take them down. And they were so bad, bringing up my past and some other things and telling people things that, you normally wouldn't tell people. Not that it's terrible, it's just none of their business. So, I have to reinvent myself. So I go from an interior designer, because I don't have the biggest project I ever worked on to go to and show, because they didn't pay me my last check, and therefore I'm having to sue them. And that's the project that I worked on for 2 years. So I can't get them as a reputable referral. But as he destroyed my business life, because I won my dog back in court, and while I was reinventing myself and having to deal with the fact that a third of my income just didn't come in, and having to get a roommate who's a drug dealer. He was supposed to not be a drug dealer. He was supposed to help me in business. But instead he kept dealing drugs, which he said he wasn't going to do. Over the years you're going to find out, not over the years, but in the next few months you'll find out he told his girlfriend that too, over and over again. And she's a girl that's really smart and was still in college, and when she gets out of college, she's going to make a pile of money. And he ain't going to be able to get none of it. But anyway, I get behind in the rent, and this is after I spent 10 months, nearly 11, having construction done on the place. I didn't do the construction. The people who own the apartment complex, I guess the members of the apartment complex, they won some lawsuit, $50 million, because the outside of the apartment complex was crap, made of crap. I don't even know how after 40 years they found the people, but they did. And they were still in business. Oh, God damn. I got hernias that are hurting me right now, and they used to not hurt me. Of course, I've had sex for like the last 24 hours, and that kind of fucked with them. You can't bang them into people and expect them to be fine. Anyway. So during that process was 2 hours of work each way, in the morning and at night, of moving things around and doing this and doing that, and literally over a 9-month period. If you ever lived around construction or tried to live with construction going on, you know how terrible it can be. Be right back. I'm back. So that about drove me crazy, and that, of course, put me behind in rent, too. Because, quite frankly, I was the only person that stayed in the building out of 16 people still living there while this was going on. Everybody else moved out. They knew what kind of hell it was going to be. But I paid my landlord the rent. All the rent. Same as what if it wasn't going on. No discount, no nothing. I got nothing. Thinking that at the end of this, he wouldn't go up on the rent that much to me. Because that's what he said. That's what he said. But greed has a way of reeling his ugly head at people. And he found out that he can get $500 more a month than what I'm paying. That's $6,000 a year. Yeah. $6,000 a year speaks to people. And not in a good way. They don't forget. As a matter of fact, they can't think of anything else. So when I got behind in the rent, he pulled the eviction thing. And I had till the 15th of that month to get him the rent caught up. Well, I got a check on the 15th. I got it after the banks closed. And it was a Friday. My bank is not open on a Saturday. And so therefore, I wasn't able to give him cash. Even though I promised him another month's rent on top of it. And a higher security deposit. He still threw me out. After living there 7 years, nearly 7 years, 6 years, something like that. I can't tell you how a person feels when you've got 5 days of this kind of stuff and you've got a whole house of it. I only have a room of it here that you can see. And this is only stuff, not just, I don't have any furniture. I lost everything on the last eviction. Nearly $800,000 worth of stuff. Not only did I lose it, but I lost it because they put it on the street. Right out on the street. Crystal chandeliers. It's sickening to even think about it. And hard for me to think about. It only happened 2 months ago. So I had to start all over. All of this is new. I buy and sell. I had to reinvent myself. And when I reinvented myself, it took a while to get started. So I go on to the next place with the same fucking roommate because he swore he would start doing what needed to be done. Needless to say, he did not. Needless to say, events happened when you live with a drug dealer, like they get busted. They get busted in your car, so therefore your car is a source of constant looking at. And therefore, you are subject to getting looked at, getting searched, whatever. Because your car was involved, and also, when your car is involved in something like that, people don't like it with the highway department, and they suspend almost everything. whether it was your fault or not. They suspend your license, they suspend your tags, they suspend everything. It's terrible. And because it was a car that was looked at a lot, I was in it one day when they decided to look at it, me thinking that there's no problem because I don't have anything in there and I haven't let the drug dealer use it. At least I thought I didn't. But he did a drug deal in it. Met somebody in the car. Even though it sat in the parking lot, he didn't go anywhere in it. But he also left dope in it. Next day, I agreed to a search because I didn't realize that I had no driver's license, registration, and and insurance on the car because I just moved and my mail hadn't started catching up with me. So therefore, I didn't know. So off to jail I go. So not only did they take me to jail, but they also put in my record that I was busted with intent to distribute and manufacture. Manufacture, yes, you heard it right. I got busted in a car, but they accused me of manufacturing. So, could it get any worse? Yes, it can. We were kicked out of that apartment. They're not going to have people there manufacturing meth, for God's sakes. And it was a mistake on my record. So I can sue them, but I got to wait till the case is over with. And they do have the information because Joe called, who was the roommate, and said, "Did you find anything in your car? I left something in there." He didn't call, he texted. While I was in jail. He didn't know I was in jail. Thank God for that, because that's what saved me. Or that will save me from any kind of further harm, at least told by everybody involved, including the police. However, here we go with another eviction. They were nice enough. It didn't go in the streets like the first man. Oh yeah, he put my stuff in the street because I moved fast enough. I spent 5 days doing it because he gave me, 5 days to do it. And it was right at the first of the month. And you can't rent a truck at the first of the month. So anyway, number 2. My fault? Yeah. I shouldn't have had a drug dealer. The drug dealer shouldn't have done that to me. And it seemed like the city would have helped me by at least explaining to the people who are evicting me. But instead, that's the same city who helped to put the paperwork together to evict me. Police department or around here are crap. They just think they're LA cops or some kind of something. I don't know what the hell they think, but they just relentless. They don't let you nothing. I mean, they're not helpful whatsoever. The majority of them aren't. There was one I met that was helpful. But anyway, that's that one. Off to an apartment below someone's house that was a dream come true. You lived at the corner of a river, creek, and the ocean. Beautiful view, beautiful place, $3 million house. Around here, $3 million house is a really nice house. It's not, New York City, studio. It's a big house. But the man is beating his wife. And also, the family likes me more than they like him. So therefore, it's another wild story. Tune in.